I said at the end of the NFL Network coverage to my three guys to my left, Charles Davis, Daniel Jeremiah, and Mike Mayock, who wants to call in on Monday? I got Mayock looking over his shoulder saying he's golfing. I got Daniel Jeremiah saying, hey, path to the draft returns Monday. And I got one guy saying, I'll do anything for you. I love you, Charles Davis.
I love you more, Rich.
You're my quarterback. You're my defensive back.
and out of the three of us,
yes,
I was really the only one who had nothing to do.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
I mean, Mike's not just playing. He's not like just playing golf.
I know.
Right? Mike got a big time offer.
He did.
I was a little hard. I was sitting there going, looked at my phone. Anybody off? No. Rich, I'll do anything for you, man.
Oh man. What leaps out to you, Charles? I'll go macro here. What leaps out to you from the draft?
Well, of course, we'll start with the quarterbacks very quickly. What you just said before I came on is perfect as far as I'm concerned. All right? Let's see how it plays out. And all the Cleveland fans that are actually freaking out that they didn't take someone else, let it play out. But remember, they put their conviction in this kid. They had all this time. They decided to go in that direction. And I've seen the explanation for what they did at 4, why they took Ward, because they think a cover guy is more valuable because the quarterback throws the ball faster than he ever does and guys don't get home, et cetera, et cetera. That's big. For all the other teams that were making moves, I loved how Indianapolis addressed the fact that Andrew Luck is coming back from injury. If we want to be good, we got to protect him, and they go big with guys right out of the gate. I think that in looking at this thing, and people keep talking about how character matters, and a lot of times we roll our eyes and go, yeah, right, we'll draft anybody. There are a lot of really talented kids that did not get drafted that I will guarantee is strictly because teams thought that character issues were there. So the draft will play itself out. We'll look back in a few years, and as you said, if you draft Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis, you won that draft. It's that simple, and we don't know who won it yet. But the last thing I will say is every time Seattle's been knocked about their draft along the way, how many times did we look back later and go, well, they know what they're talking about. They had a method to their madness.
I know. They were the kings of day 3 for many, many a moon. And then they finally did go went with Jamarco Jones out of the Ohio State. So they got and then Will Dissly, the tight end in day 3. Mayock said that's as good as they can get to block it, helping protect Russell Wilson without getting an offensive lineman. When it all came down to it, though, which is the team that you spotlighted on day 3? It all meshes together when you were asked which team did you like in the draft or wanted to point out.
I really like Chicago.
Right. What'd you like about the Bears?
Well, you get your symbol of the city in Roquan Smith, the city of broad shoulders, right, Rich?
Yep.
From Bill George to Dick Butkus to Mike Singletary to Brian Urlacher, they expect this kid to be the next one. Now, he won't fit them in stature, but the way the game's played now, he'll play in the middle, and he'll play well. The center, James Daniels, gives them flexibility. What are they going to do with Cody Whitehair? But no matter what that triple is with him, Whitehair, and Kyle Long, that helps Mitchell Trubisky. Wide receiver from Memphis State, Anthony Miller. Another target now for him, and a slot receiver, so you can get it to him quicker, balls out of his hands. That helps a young quarterback. I just thought through and through, they got value in the 5th round to me and Bilal Nichols, the defensive end from Delaware. All in all, I just liked what they did. And you know who else I like? And it's funny because John Robinson, the GM at Tennessee, I think continues to do a terrific job, and to me has since the beginning. Getting Rashaan Evans, the linebacker from Alabama, he'll be next to Wesley Woodyard, who's as good a person as there is in the league, as good a role model, mentor, leader that Evans can draft off of early and then take over that role as the middle of the defense and that leader right out of the gate. Plus, he's very talented. And we all thought that they needed a pass rusher in the 1st round. They ended up getting Harold Landry in the 2nd. I thought, and then they made the moves with the draft choices. I just like what they did right up there at the top. I'm not as over the top about Luke Falk as other people are, but I do think getting him in the 6th is a pretty good deal because I think most people thought he'd go in the 3rd or the 4th.
Yeah, and it's funny. We had Trent Dilfer here a couple weeks ago saying Luke Falk is as close to somebody coming out of college looking like Brady as there is and might be a perfect fit for New England for them to take. And sure enough, Luke Falk goes in pick 199 in the Brady spot for Mike Vrabel. That was a pretty neat third-day moment right there. And and who knows, he might turn into like a Jimmy G type that that Tennessee might be able to flip later on, because obviously they got their guy at the quarterback spot for years to come. Which surprised you more, that they didn't go for a quarterback in this draft? I mean, I know New England took one really late with Danny Etling. The Chargers didn't take one at all. I mean, which team do you think should have taken one, or you thought were going to take one that didn't?
I thought the Chargers were going to, Rich, and they haven't drafted quarterbacks since 2013, and they keep getting, they keep going with Phillip, and he has been extremely durable, hasn't he? But at the same time, who's next in the hopper? And I don't think they have that person, and I thought that they would do that. I didn't think they'd trade up in the first round to do it. But I thought they might be one of the first teams to jump in the second round and kind of look at a look at a Lauletta, right? Eventually maybe in the third, a Mike White, someone like that, and they just didn't make that move at all. So that was the one that surprised me more than New England. We talked about it, on Saturday. I'm as convinced now as I was on Saturday. New England doesn't put a ton of capital into a backup quarterback. Jimmy G is as high as they went, and I'm still a little bit befuddled that he's not in New England.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still a little bit like, but that was the guy. Okay, all right, so he's gone. But Brian Hoyer, undrafted free agent. Matt Cassel played tight end for a while at USC. No one really saw that coming. He's had a heck of a career considering where he came from. They did draft, Ryan Mallett, many years ago, and found out that wasn't going to work. But they don't put a ton of capital into that backup quarterback. So Danny Etling surprised the heck out of all of us, being the name pulled. But doesn't that feel like a very New England thing to do?
Yeah. And then the Dolphins didn't take a quarterback either. But
I wasn't as surprised about that, Rich, only because once they probably couldn't get the one they wanted, I think they were like, we're not going in that direction.
Who's the one you think they wanted?
I think that at that number, if they couldn't make a move and get up there, I felt like Josh Allen would be that guy. That was the sense that I had. And if you look at what Adam has worked with and the types of throwers he's worked with, he got the most out of Jay Cutler, big arm guy, right? Peyton, big, strong, less strapping lad before he got hurt. And you remember, before he got hurt, his last couple of years before he hurt his thigh, Rich, wasn't Peyton just off the charts? Mm-hmm. I mean, we're looking at going, oh, my God. And then when the injury happened, he wasn't the same after that. But still, I mean, he's used to those types of guys. Tannehill, though, I know he likes a lot. So it was going to take the right guy for him to go get that and deal with a quarterback room where he's going to have to deal with that again.
Yeah, and they got Gesicki and Balaj, tight end and running back, that I think are going to – they need a little bit more dynamic play and an offense, having lost Jarvis Landry. Kenyon Drake, to me, though, is going to be spectacular this year. Those were some interesting selections. When do you think Lamar Jackson gets on the field, Charles? That was a lively debate, I guess, between Mike and I. What, by the way, what's it like to sit in between Mike and I when we go at it like that, Charles?
It's like the finals at Wimbledon. I mean, we're sitting in the royal box.
Am I the Federer? Am I Federer? Am I making any shot in my bag?
You whatever shot you want to pull out, you can pull out. And I know we're being somewhat facetious, but I want to say this seriously.
Yeah.
When Daniel and I are sitting there and that's going on, and I'm joking that it's like Wimbledon. We've got our coat and tie on. We're in the royal box. We're watching every shot. Our eyes are going back and forth. But the thing for people to understand, and I know it's hard because some of these conversations get to be kind of tough, is that your job is to challenge all of us, and you do it extremely well.
Thank you.
And you also bring a perspective of, you do realize people are asking these questions. People are talking about this. This isn't just something that we're just throwing out there. We can joke about it being sports talk radio, but like you heard us at the end of it, Daniel and I had talked about it, just me and him, about the idea of what's going on. Because the year before, when Chicago made the move to go up for Mitchell Trubisky, Mike Glennon was at their draft party. And I know for a fact that people inside the Chicago Bears draft room were diving for the phone trying to find Mike Glennon to say, hey, somebody get him and let him know what's about to go down so he doesn't walk into an ambush. because it's a tough situation. And look, if Joe Flacco doesn't want to talk about it, that's entirely up to Joe Flacco. I know you weren't disputing it. Mike was saying that he doesn't need to talk. I get all that. But the idea that he's going to be at the draft party and not get asked about it, of course he is. That's what happens. That's why Daniel and I joked at the end and said, if I'm a quarterback, I don't go to a draft party because you never know what your team's going to do. And we can joke and laugh, but that's a legit question. And for everyone out there who can hear my voice, Mike knows this. Everybody thinks that Mike and Rich are going into the steel cage and going to throw down. The respect factor between you two is off the charts, but because of that respect factor, that's how you can challenge each other, and that's what comes out of it. And I think that it's better for everyone.
Yeah, and you know, the question that this was all about was about, you know, obviously whether Flacco was going to answer a question placed to him about, hey, Lamar's here, and he obviously doesn't want to talk about it.
He don't want to talk about it.
Because this year, either Lamar Jackson's going to take his gig.
Yep.
Or
next year.
Or, hold on, this is the best case scenario for Flacco, is that Lamar Jackson has a package. Yep. And the package is not him split out wide or in the slot or behind Flacco. It's Flacco going out wide like Cutler, smoke him if you got him out there and try to make it seem like you're in the route, or removed from the field entirely. I think those are the two choices with the Ravens, correct?
I don't disagree at all, and their staff has had experience doing the exact things that you've talked about being, you know, working those extra packages, getting people on the field. You know, I'm the lone skeptic on that. When I say lone, right, I did voice that on Saturday. I'm not crazy about those things. I think that a lot of times with your offense, you've got to be very careful. Now, it works. We've seen it work. I've also seen it bog down offenses. You know, hey, got a package. Let's get him in the game. Let's go, 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 go. I still remember, and this isn't exact apples to apples, but I wish I could have gotten it out in time. You remember that Houston Texans playoff game a couple years ago at home? I think it was against Kansas City. And it was early in the game. They're down inside, I think, the 5 or the 10, and they go with that wild package where J.J. Watt is taking the snap. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm screaming at the television, are you nuts? Why now? Momentum's going well for you. You've run your plays. This is too much. And what happened? Ball's loose. Here we go. That's not what he does overall. I get very careful. I just don't like doing that. Again, not apples to apples because he's not a quarterback. But I think that sometimes we get an over-reliance on we have to have him on the field. We have to do it. I say let it be a little bit more organic, but I'm the old curmudgeon with that.
Which is why Daniel Jeremiah said he's looking forward to the preseason schedule, because this is all going to have to be worked out in the full view of all 32 teams and everybody who's evaluating this. It's a fascinating storyline to come out of the draft. Charles, I love you. Thanks for calling in. It was just another stellar draft with you, DJ, Mike, and the whole crew in the truck and all around. It was awesome.
Hey, thanks for having me. And remember this with Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Remember how Joe Flacco got his job to start the opener. Tonsillitis with Troy Smith. He wasn't supposed to start. Got the job and just took off and ran with it. So serendipity might kick in too. We never know.
So basically, the moral of the story is, if you well, no, hold on a minute. I'm going to go one step further. If you think you have a future quarterback in the NFL, remove his tonsils. I don't know.
And don't go to the draft party.
Take care, Charles.
We'll
chat soon.
Rich, thank you.
The one and only Charles Davis at CFD22.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.